Also, can I say something about the show? Everyone's way too horny. This is a pervy, horny show. I don't like
they
the
are
horny
dinosaurs.
energy. I don't need dinosaurs to be horny. I don't know how other people need their dinosaurs.
Honeys, we're home.
Hello and welcome to Sinclairity, a Dinosaurs Tale. I am your host. We're gonna need another Timmy, along with my co-host
Ben, hand up me.
Ben. Hand up me. How you doing, Ben?
Great. I'm doing great. I'm having a good day. I had some shrimp egg rolls, and I'm hanging out with this dog Chomper.
Tight.
So it's a good day.
Yeah, today this is episode 18 of the podcast, and today, which episode of Dinosaurs are we talking about today, Ben?
We're doing season 2, episode 10, which is How to Pick Up Girls, which every time I start Googling How to Pick Up Girls, it's the weirdest thing I've ever had to type into. Well, no, it's not, but it's still weird. And, it was released on November 20th, 1991.
Yes, and today is a very special day because we have a very special guest. Ben, would you like to introduce our guest?
Yeah, I guess Tim forgot your name already and what podcast you're on. Welcome, Erin Keif from Hey Riddle Riddle to the podcast. Also a recurring character on Hello from the Magic Tavern.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. You know what's wild? It almost directly came out on the day I was born. This episode. It's 10 days after I was born. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. I was going to ask, because I think you mentioned recently being 29 on an episode, and everyone kept saying almost 30. You're like, no, just turned 29. I can't be almost 30.
Yeah. I mean, I've been, all of it, like, from 24 till now, I was basically like, I'm basically 30. I'm just 30 now. It's like 24 is the new 30. And then I turned 29, and I was like, I am not 30 yet. Everyone relax. Slow down.
It's funny that you say that because on an episode we did recently, it just came out, but not, you know what I mean.
The recording.
We recorded it in the future, but it was close to our host.
Wait, we recorded it in the future?
Oh, I don't.
How did we do that?
Incredible.
Wow. We had laser guns and we recorded our podcast.
Wow.
Our guest, but the episode with Stove was also close to Stove's birthday as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got,
so
that's kismet. It's lining up. It's meant to be
exactly.
that I did this episode.
Yeah.
So
we almost got the Halloween episode on the Halloween, but we missed it by like a couple of weeks too.
Bummer.
So we just dropped a bonus episode that I recorded like with the power went out because of a hurricane, and I recorded by candlelight on my laptop.
See, that's very, like that's like you're recording it in the past. So you're recording some in the future and some in the past.
Yeah, in the future we record with robot Barack Obama. In the past we recorded with caveman Barack Obama. I don't know how past works.
He's lived through every age.
So I have a question for you, Tim.
Okay. Yeah.
What? How do I say this? No, it feels like a riddle. Why this show? Why? How do I say this? Okay, why, I guess.
For one, it's not available on streaming services, so that felt like the right time to start a podcast.
Accessible to everyone, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. All of our listeners don't watch the show even. They just let us explain it to them.
I've had people who told me they won't listen to the show because they can't watch along. And I'm like, you don't really need to, but okay.
Yeah,
no. Perfect. Okay, wait, but do you have like a sentimental tie to this? Like,
Timmy does.
Okay.
I love this show. I watched it as a kid, and then the first time it was on Netflix, and like, God, that was like 8 years ago. I like binged it all the way through. I was like, this show was so good. How did I didn't get it when I was a kid. And then
Are you sure?
2 years ago, and then 2 years ago it was on Hulu, and I watched it all again, and I was just like, this is so good. And then Ben was like, hey, I want to start a podcast with you, Tim. I'm like, okay. Do you like the show Dinosaurs?
And I vaguely they were like I'm the youngest of 4 siblings, and there were like cassettes of recorded episodes around the house. So I vaguely remember it, but for the concept of the podcast, I don't watch ahead. I watch the episode we're about to do, so I'm new to it still.
Ben's never seen like any of the show other than what we watched.
I see. That's a good dynamic, though.
Yeah.
But I already have a tattoo from it. We're 18 episodes.
Wait, what
in,
if it takes a turn and it gets like super offensive? Like
Then
8 episodes from now.
Okay, so then I cover it up with the portrait of Joe Rogan.
Okay, perfect.
It's a frying
Someone
pan that
who
says
will
"Not
never
the
turn
mama."
and will always be warm in the
awful.
public light.
Exactly.
How old were you when you were watching it as a kid?
Me? Let's
But you're
see,
like 32 now, right?
I'm 33.
33.
So this show
The age of
started.
Jesus.
This show started airing in 1991. So I would have been about 4. So I must have caught the reruns or something on Disney Channel. That's what I think. It's funny that you're asking us this because usually we like to ask the guests like, "What do you remember
prompted it.
about
Oh,
the
yeah,
show?"
I'll tell you. I clicked on it and I went, oh, fuck. Oh, no. This is familiar and I don't know why. This is my least favorite thing about 80s and 90s things. When all of a sudden I go like, I know this. I've seen this. This existed in my house. I don't know how or when, but I've seen this. And I've felt nauseous ever since. It like really messes with your brain. There's like a couple things that's happened since. Like someone made a reference to the movie Meteora. It's like sort of, it feels like what Toy Story took its plot from. It's like an 80s Christmas doll movie.
Is it Haunted Toys?
Basically. And all of a sudden I was like, ooh, I've definitely seen that. Because I was the youngest of 3 girls, and there must have just been things that were on the TV that like before I consciously was realizing what I was watching. It was just happening to me. And this is certainly something that happened to me. I saw that baby and I was like, I know that baby.
That's the thing. It's just
Dino
like
baby.
it's just the show was so expensive to make, but yet they were able to go for at least 3 seasons and make like the baby like a cultural icon almost, pretty much. Like he's like up there with like Urkel. Like people know his catchphrases, you know?
Up there with Urkel. In heaven?
Who
No, the puppet's still alive,
created
remember?
this show? And is there any famous voices
Henson.
on it? Jim Henson. Okay. But like,
Well, he was dead, but his Brian Henson, I guess, technically.
and then who... But he was like really, it wasn't just the studio, like he was the creative mind behind it.
It was, he wanted to do it in the 80s, but people said nobody would watch it. And then The Simpsons came out, and he's like, well, we can just do whatever, because this show's out now, and people love it. So they made it, even though it was like the most expensive show to make for prime time at the time.
And he saw the technology.
That's so embarrassing.
He saw the technology they made for the Ninja Turtles movies.
Oh,
Yeah, because Henson
go ninja,
creature
go
shop did
ninja,
that.
go.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
familiar.
So he was like, "Oh, look, we can do that." So they just took that technology.
And
they
nobody
made
stopped them
that.
for some reason.
Well,
Yeah,
you're
no
blowing
one's-
my mind because I recently rewatched the second Ninja Turtles movie, and as I was watching this, it reminded me so much of it.
Yeah. Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. It's the same
probably a
people
lot of the
doing
same
the puppeteering.
Yeah, it's probably a lot of the same puppeteers too.
So
honestly.
here's my thing. I love my like sense of humor is the Muppets. That's
Yeah,
like
same.
my origin story. So yeah, Ben, same place.
That's why I asked you to be on here.
Yeah, I love the Muppets, and I love Sesame Street. A lot of Jim Henson stuff. Loving it. I have never loved like the Labyrinth, Muppets on SNL, like the sort of dark side of the Jim Henson stuff. I find it like a little scary.
It is scary. The Labyrinth, specifically the scene with those creatures that would take their heads off and throw them around while dancing.
Hard pass.
Was this? I could not watch it when I was a kid. I had to leave the room every time.
Dark Crystal is more fucked up, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But
The Skeksis are
awesome,
scary.
though. Yeah, I love it.
It's really cool. I always like when I'm watching it, I'm just like, this is real. I always forget. Like Tim's always like, how'd they do that scene? How'd they shoot that? I'm like, it's all real. What do you mean? I was like, oh yeah, it's puppets. They had to.
I've probably told this story too many times, but I saw, probably this show, I saw Labyrinth when I was really little, and it didn't consciously go in, but it was in my nightmares all growing up. I had nightmares about it. And then I went to college, and we were all talking about reoccurring nightmares, and I started talking about it, and someone was like, bitch, like the movie Labyrinth? And I was like, what? And they're like, Labyrinth. And someone on our floor had a DVD of it, and they put it on, and I was like, oh my God, it's real. I thought I had made it up. I thought I had such a sick brain that I had made up David Bowie dancing, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's real! This is like for whatever reason, no one made it."
It really is a cod piece in that guy's pants. This is not just a nightmare.
It made me go maybe my brain isn't naturally as fucked up as I thought it was.
Jim Henson just ruined it.
That's how I feel about Joe Rogan. I always imagine that I just made him up.
I just wake up in a cold sweat every night, just like, what if Fear Factor never had a host? Like,
it would be me. It would be me.
Oh, that's so funny.
So, yeah. So, okay, so
oh, wait, I have to bring up something real quick, Tim, about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. I was at Goodwill last week, and I found a DVD of the first Ninja Turtles movie, and then I opened it, and it was the second movie in there instead, and I got so mad. I wanted the first one.
Isn't the second one like the one that everyone loves? I don't know.
No.
I'm not really a part of that.
I mean,
the first one is
fandom.
fantastic.
The second one's goofier, I think. The first one's better.
Yeah.
Okay.
The second one is the one I saw the most as a little kid, though, I think.
Yeah.
And then the third one is awful.
Yeah, that's really bad.
Never seen the third.
It's a time. It's like a time hopping one. It's not good.
They use a time turner in that one.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't
they
like
jumped the shark.
Yeah.
Do you think Time Turner and Timmy Turner are related? No, that's probably not. It doesn't make any sense. Go on.
So basically, Erin, you're saying that this is the first time you've watched an episode, basically?
Yeah, I know that I've seen it, and I know that this, I registered this as something that exists sometime in my life. I can't quite place when, where, or how.
Okay.
Was it on cable, or was it on primetime? What channel?
It was on ABC.
ABC. Okay.
The TGIF lineup, and then it was syndicated onto Disney Channel later.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't have seen it syndicated because we didn't have cable. So I must have had when I was a child.
Subtle brag.
Yeah. Just a little bit of a brag. I was mostly reading books and getting a fucking personality. No, I was begging to watch TV at any moment. It had the opposite effect on me. I was like, there's only TV. That is the only thing I care about. It's going over friends' houses and watching Disney Channel.
When I got Disney Channel, it blew my mind when I was a kid when we got it finally. But I always felt like a weird kid because I didn't have Cartoon Network like everyone else. So everyone else would be like, oh, did you watch Dragon Ball Z or did you watch Dexter's Lab? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, it's brutal. I used to be like, Mom, Dad, everyone's talking about Nick and Knight, and I don't know what those words mean. Please.
That's how I asked my mom for a Nickelodeon magazine. Well, actually, I mowed it into the yard.
Of course. At least you mowed.
Yeah, that's true. So this episode, a little bit more about it real quick. We've learned that it's helpful if we bring up. It was written by Andy Goodman, and who has only ever written for one other show, and it's The Nanny.
Wow.
And, which also stars a Fran. So both shows have Frans in them. Directed by Bruce Bilson, who directed Family Challenge and Career Opportunities episodes. I was gonna bring up, you asked if famous voice actors were in it. Sally Struthers plays the daughter, Charlene. And Christopher Milani from Law & Order SVU plays the bully, Spike, in this episode. The guy from Wet Hot American Summer.
Oh my God, okay.
Yeah.
Robbie.
I didn't look it up, and I was like, how do I know his voice? He's amazing.
Yeah.
And everything else. This was horrible. That character needs to be burned with the fire.
He was essentially like Harley. If you saw, did you watch Boy Meets World?
Again, I missed it. Everyone was talking about Boy Meets World.
I was on ABC. But I feel like when we were, I feel like it was on ABC before I watched it. I think I watched it when it was syndicated on Disney. We had cable. Sorry, my parents were really into.
They loved you?
My mom. Yeah, my mom would hide the
Sorry for being
television
rich.
from guests. My mom would put like sunscreens in front of the television so to look like we weren't a TV focused household. But like we were, like when we'd go over other people's houses, like my brother would ask if their TV was broken because it wasn't on at the moment.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I used
It
to.
just mortified my mother.
The sound of waking up for me is in the summer. Both my parents would have to work all day, so I'd be home alone or home alone with one of my sisters, and I would wake up to the sound of my mom unplugging the TV and turning it around, just scratching our wood floors, and then posting 1,000 sticky notes of like, read a book, clean your room, please don't watch TV. And I would wake up and be like, all right, and turn the TV around and watch TV all day, turn it back around, put the sticky notes back.
Yeah, it's what happens. The kids that I'm watching today, they only have screen time on the weekends. So, like, they obsessively, on the weekends, it's like Minecraft and YouTube videos of people playing Minecraft. And more recently, because they're total anime weebs, is Naruto has been the new thing. So, today, like, we were dropping their mom off at work she works at a restaurant in the French Quarter, and they were like, Aaliyah's like, Ben, I want to show you Naruto when we get home. I was like, I've read or seen it before, I promise.
I'm like, no. I'm gonna educate you.
Yeah, I'm gonna teach you about the ninja way. And I was like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
I gotta show them the Ninja Turtle movies. I think that'll be it. They
dark
watched
one?
Dinosaurs with me, and they're kind of scared by it.
No kidding.
The first Ninja Turtle movie is pretty dark, so they might not like it. But
they just didn't have lighting, I think is what it was.
it was one of the biggest this is a total sidebar, but it was one of the like most successful independent films like ever made.
I know. I told you that on the first episode of this podcast, I believe.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Never underestimate children. Children can love something.
Yeah, they'll pay their child money.
Hey, I
wonder if you
Sonic.
could pay child bucks for it. Did you see Sonic?
I saw Sonic in theaters, and the little kids in that movie theater, when at the end, sorry for the spoilers, everybody, but Tails shows up at the end of that Sonic movie, and little kids were like in the crowd with their parents, and they were freaking out. They're like, "Oh my god, it's Tails!" And I was so happy.
That's really funny.
I was like,
I thought that movie was actually pretty great.
I didn't hate it.
I didn't hate it at all. I had pretty low expectations going in, and I was like, wow, we really tore. Thank God we bullied that movie studio into changing.
I'm upset. I'm very upset about the bullying because I would have watched the hell out of it if it was the original animation of Sonic because it looked so terrifying.
Well, you two clearly have the personalities of like you love sort of campy things that are shitty.
Yeah, exactly. That's a mean thing to say about Hey Riddle Riddle. I mean,
yeah.
it's my favorite podcast.
100%. 100%. Man, you got the better of that exchange. Well done. Damn it, you came out on top.
Yeah. We also, that's because we're not improv performers.
No one is. That's a fake thing that people made up.
No, but what's the where you want to start talking about the plot, Timmy?
Yeah. So
okay, cool.
So we enter the episode, and we're at Bob La Brea High School, and I love all the little Muppet puppets that are like just walking around in this scene, and and they use like every single suit they have that's not the main characters to like fill the hallways, and
this is the most Muppets I've seen in one scene, I think, so far.
Yeah, and so we see Robbie is at his locker, and I love on the wall though, it has like a giant banner, and it says paleo dance. So all I could think of was the paleo diet.
The what?
The paleo diet. Like
paleo diet.
It's a paleo dance. So you like you can only dance with rocks and whatever people on paleo diets eat.
Classic.
I forgot that I joined like 80 keto groups on Facebook just to get banned from them last year. I just kept asking very inappropriate questions about Garfield.
Quarantine?
Yeah, this is pre-quarantine.
You had the space for that? That's amazing.
I was probably at work just on my phone. I joined like 80 keto groups and asked some questions about whether Garfield's... Never mind, I'm not going to say what I asked them. But I asked if something that Garfield produces was keto compliant. And I got banned from most of them. But I found out yesterday I'm not banned from all of them because one a post came up in my timeline of somebody saying, me and my wife started doing Keith 3 weeks ago, and he accidentally put Keith, and all the comments were the best. Everyone's like, oh, you're doing Keith too? He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Man.
Sorry.
We come to Robbie's at his locker, and we're kind of in his head, and he's really nervous to talk to Caroline Foxworth.
Who's Yolanda the Rat from the Muppets 2015 series.
Who is wearing earrings in a way that doesn't make any sense to me. I couldn't make heads or
They only
tails
have
or
holes.
how they were hanging, what was going on. It was very distracting to me.
And,
I also thought it was Robbie's sister at first that he's pining over, and I got really concerned.
he thought it was Charlene.
Yeah, it looked close enough to me. Like I was like, this TikTok shit's out of control. These step siblings dating thing.
So yeah, and then in his head, he's like describing her. He's like, "Oh, look at those beautiful scales. She's got a hint of a nose, a tail around the heart." And,
yeah, and tails in this show canonically are supposed to be breasts, which is not okay.
Okay, this is what is disgusting, and
Yes,
I hate it, and that is terrible.
a hint of a nose is also I can't. There's like that YouTube video where the girl's explaining how to do makeup, but she's just talking about like if men know that we can transform, they'll burn us at the stake. And like,
Oh yeah.
but she's like contouring her nose away. She's like, can't have a nose. It's like, so I guess it's true. Robbie's like attracted to a hint of a nose.
yeah,
Which what the fuck?
yeah. And then immediately, while he's still describing her, it goes into like some weird like fantasy sequence.
A straightforward James Bond
Yeah.
parody.
So he's like Robbie Sinclair, and then fucking Mr. Turtlepuss comes in, but he's dressed as Oddjob, and he throws the hat.
Yeah, this is very Austin Powersy to me.
I mean, I do love this, like, these two, like, fantasy sequences, because I do love, like, a genre-specific parody inside of a show. I'm like, all right,
Yeah,
I can do that. All right, okay.
They remind me of Doug, which you guys didn't watch either, probably. 'Cause of the
Doug?
lack of cable.
No,
Yeah.
I oddly, I don't know how. I think it might have been one Saturday morning on ABC that I was able to watch a couple episodes of Doug.
Yeah, he has a lot of sequences that are exactly like this, where he imagines himself as like a James Bond character or like a rock star.
I'm
Makes
offended.
sense. I
mean,
that you
everyone
think
does.
I didn't watch Doug.
I'll give you guys a minute. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go pop some popcorn, and you guys can really hash this out.
Okay, so Tim, we gotta work through our issues. So yeah, so
Pop, 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 pop. I'm just popping popcorn. They're working through their issues. Pop, 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 pop.
I watched, like,
we
the
went
first
to
run,
podcast couple
Ben.
counseling. You watched the first run of Doug. You didn't watch
Yeah.
the brand spanking new Disney run. That was
No, I
terrible.
remember the first episode with the nematodes when he's out in the woods and he's doing the call. I was like, what the fuck
Okay.
is a nematode?
Okay, I'm not gatekeeping Doug. Like, I'm not like, oh, you like Doug? Name 5 of his songs. Like, it's okay.
Well, yeah, he's got that Think Big song and
Okay, I get it.
playing on a street
He
light.
has his theme song.
Yeah.
So I have a question. I know that this
Yeah.
in the next scene sort of gets immediately addressed directly to camera. But how do you generally feel about shows that are like aesthetically for children but have adult humor? And not even like little jokes
Why?
thrown in for adults, like what this is, which is like looks like it's for kids, but it is for grown-ups.
But it's straight up an adult sitcom. I don't know if I watch anything like. Well, I don't like adult cartoons for the most part. Like they like make me uncomfortable. Except like Bob's Burgers, obviously.
Yeah, it's a good one.
But that's just a great show. But and like I watch Adventure Time, but I think that's made for kids either way. But I don't like South Park or like Family Guy type shows at all. So I don't know. This one is definitely something that like. Other than the fact that I'm watching it and enjoying the puppetry and get to make jokes about it, I don't think I would be like necessarily watching it all the time. It might get better. I don't know. Some episodes are actually really good, but some of them are like they have different writers for almost every episode, and some of them are just really cringy.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of examples of other. Let me look it up.
I feel like like Ben brought up that that 2015 Muppets series that only ran for
Yeah.
one season. That one is
That's
really
a good show.
Yeah. But that was like it's more like The Office. So It's puppets.
Which everyone hates now. That's the new thing, is to hate The Office.
Everybody hates The Office.
Yeah, it's replaced everyone hating Rick and Morty. Now everyone hates The Office. I never saw Rick and Morty, but I did see a lot of The Office.
I definitely watched at least the first 2 seasons of Rick and Morty.
There are some Rick and Morty episodes that I truly think are brilliant, but I think it can be one of the most inconsistent shows across the board.
It just seems like it almost comes off to me as like mean humor sometimes, which I don't like. Where it seems like, I don't know, it just isn't my thing. Where it seems like the joke is to be mean to someone. I guess I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just weird.
Rick is very grating, and he's like he reminds you of the person who thinks he's like the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
And I guess
that's
like
a lot of male comedy writers.
Yeah, and
feel as like jaded as he does.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I guess it's his character, but at the same time, like, he's supposed to be unlikable, but he just is straight up unlikable. Like,
well, he did a good job. Did a great job. I don't like watching it because of it.
He's like when it's a wrestling heel who is just such a good heel that you just really, really hate him no matter what. Like,
yeah.
So
are wrestling heels named after like the ends of loaves of bread? Is that what that's?
I don't know. I think heel is like an old timey.
I use those to feed medicine to my dog. I put peanut butter
or
and a pill
for
in it.
pathetic sandwiches.
Just really pathetic. I always like when I'm making food for everyone else, and I will just use the heels for mine, just because I don't want to like bum anyone out. Especially because the kids won't eat it if I give them a heel. I'm sure of it. They don't eat crust. I don't get it. But
yeah, I don't know, because one of the first times I heard heel used not in the context of pro wrestling was in a one of the
dog
early
training.
One of the no, not in that, because I didn't grow
Medicine.
up with any pets.
The healers from the Wizarding Hospital in Hogwarts.
It was a Sam
called
Raimi
healers?
movie called Crime Wave, and
I've never heard of that.
Bruce Campbell makes an appearance of it in it, of course, and he calls himself a heel, and I was like, what? I was like, and he was the bad guy. It was weird. But anyway,
Tim's very into wrestling.
Yeah. So
But,
so after I just thought it was funny too. After the James Bond skit, he's like doing the rock star skit, and I think
he's like Sid Vicious or something.
One of the worst tropes. That's the thing I was saying. One of the worst tropes of like the 80s and maybe the early 90s is that like this weird assumption that like all like musicians or like rock stars are all British. Like, I don't understand why that was a thing.
Because they used to be. It was the invasion. That's they came by ships, and we held lanterns out to warn people that the Sex Pistols were coming up ashore.
That is full history, and no one look it up though.
That's what the book That's what Johnny Tremaine is about. Mm-hmm. He's just rocking out to the British invasion part 2.
And my
but I also hate the fact that he asked her to go back to trash a hotel room, because somebody has to clean that. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on that. That makes me so mad.
It's awful. I'm if I stay in a hotel, I make it so the maid doesn't even have to clean it. I do the most that I can do.
Exactly.
Like, same as eating at a table at a restaurant. I like put all my stuff together and get it ready.
You like put a little apron on and you start like wiping down the table.
I tie a little bow on the toilet paper roll, and
they're like, "We're not going to pay you." You're like, "It's okay."
Well, of course don't. I'll pay you more.
Yeah, I'm also still leaving a giant tip. Don't worry.
Yeah. So, also, I with Caroline, I noticed she just has like that checkerboard ska sweater. You know, she's definitely
not everyone knows
girl.
what ska is. It's a weird thing to bring up in a podcast
ska.
too much.
No, it sounds like your listeners probably are used to it and like.
Yeah. Well, Adel introduced himself
hopefully.
as Scottle Rafai last episode. So yeah, because we talked about ska bands for maybe 30 minutes before we started recording.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah, so that was a good moment. It was because right before we started recording, we're like, let's try not to talk about ska, because it's like a weird genre of music that isn't popular anymore unless you're friends with us. That's pretty much it.
And Adel was like, "I'm glad you brought it up. Let's begin."
Yeah.
And then launched into it.
Of course. He immediately just started asking, like, is this band ska? What's ska? Like,
I gotta know, how did he feel about the show? Did he like it?
oh, he I don't know. The episode we gave him was even worse. It was like the most sexist episode ever written, I'd say. Like, It was pretty rough. It was about like the first divorced dinosaur, and it had the whole sitcom trope of like men all like hate their families for some reason.
They
and,
do
like,
though. They do.
Yeah. That's the trope.
They do
in
be
every
doing that.
show.
Mm-hmm.
And you wonder
And
Because
why.
women be curtains. And I learned that from this episode. Women do be curtains, everybody.
be curtains.
All right, you're getting a little head, but
So
that's
if
okay.
you shout out of
Sorry.
a window of a car, is that the curtain call?
Yeah, 100%. Wow, you did that so fast.
Oh, thanks.
I need more caffeine.
I did have a 10-hour energy shot.
Holy,
so-
that exists?
Off-brand. is
at
off-brand.
Dollar Tree
That's
for
just
$1.
gasoline, my friend.
Yeah.
You just did a shot of gasoline.
I felt like it was like poppers essentially. I was like, what the fuck?
So when Caroline basically just ignores Robbie, he starts talking to his reflection, which is very odd. And
This is where it should have gone for the rest of the episode. This should have been an episode about him talking to the mirror.
I loved this part. This was easily my favorite part. And did anyone else, for a split second, think he was about to start making out with his reflection when they made
Okay.
each other laugh?
His dad does it in another episode.
What the fuck?
Dad kisses
And then
himself
the
in
daughter walks
mirror.
in on him. And then the dad also does like a fake. He like pretends he's talking to his boss so everyone outside the office can hear, and he starts hitting on himself as his boss. And like, it's so you should write for Dinosaurs
I love
when
that
we're trying to
Tim is
reboot
like-
it.
I love it. I love this comedy.
That's good shit.
You can't make Tim cry. Adel already made Tim cry last week.
But hurting your
Almost.
feelings or saying
He
something so
thought-
beautiful?
I was talking about something on the show.
Oh
and
god, it was so awkward.
Like my voice inflection kind of went up, and he was like, "Are you getting upset?" Like he's like, "Are you getting emotional about the show?" I was like, "Oh no, I just checked my text because we had to take our cat to the emergency vet that weekend, and so I was like looking at text about the cat." And then I explained that to him, and then made him feel bad.
I was gonna say that's Adel's worst nightmare.
Yeah, he of course has brought it up on Instagram Messenger afterwards, like to make sure that it was like okay.
Of course he did.
And I updated him about the cat's health. The cat's doing better from what I
She's
understand.
doing fine. She just had gallstones. It's all
Aw.
Yeah, but Adel interpreted his explanation as being like he was about to cry, but he was just explaining why he was distracted for a minute.
good. Yeah.
So yeah, it was Adel's worst nightmare.
But yeah, so yeah, Robbie's talking him to himself, and then we're introduced. He's gonna kiss himself. We're introduced to Spike, which is a brand new character. We haven't seen Spike yet at all. We've only heard him mentioned. and
Yeah,
that's-
which is weird because he's mentioned as being Robbie's friend in a previous episode, but they clearly
They're
aren't
not
friends
friends.
yet.
Oh, thank you.
But I guess sitcoms are probably usually shot out of "Hi, Issa." Tim's fiance just delivered coffee. It looks like.
That happened so
fries.
fast. I looked down at my notes for the episode. Did
And
she
you missed
real?
her
Is she a
entirely.
ghost?
That's Sonic. Well,
can't
when
hear us
Tim saw
anyway.
Sonic in theaters, he took Sonic home and proposed immediately.
All right, what are we looking at? Here, what did you get? What is that food?
Would you? Yeah. What is that? Is that Wendy's?
What is
You
that?
don't eat
This
Wendy's.
is Wendy's French fries, which I can eat, and this
Tim's
is,
vegan.
This is a venti iced
This is
cascara
cheese
coconut milk latte.
She went to two separate locations to get you snacks.
There's no way.
I was only expecting the coffee. I don't know where the French fries came from, honestly.
That's love. How did you propose, or how did your fiance propose?
Oh no, not this story.
Was it a bad
Okay.
story? Was it bad? I never asked this. I'm an asshole, I guess.
Oh god, it's okay. So in
It's at Olive Garden.
Wow, I can't believe this hit a nerve.
Did she say no? Have you been lying to me?
no, so in July we went on I had a bunch of time
For my
to take
birthday.
off, and we went to a cabin in the woods, and around then was like, oh, I should get the ring, but then I didn't, so I ended up getting it later, and then I just kind of hid it, and then she found it because it was in a really bad hiding spot. But I was like,
It was on her finger.
I was like, oh well, I figured we wouldn't go anywhere cool anywhere this year, so here you
I
go.
hid it in the last place I thought she'd look, on her
I put
finger.
it.
And then all of a sudden she notices.
I hid it in the garbage
she
disposal,
was happy
obviously.
Still, and she said yes. She was like, "Oh, yeah, this is great, right?"
I mean, we were gonna do it. We've been together for 10 years, so.
Well, you don't have to do it. I'm not telling you to back off. I just mean that's not like it.
I know, but we've been talking about it for a few years anyway. So, you know.
And you're gonna you said you wanted to take her last name because it's Hernandez, and you want to be able to get like a I don't know. You want to leave the country, I think is what it was.
I want to be Timothy Hernandez.
That'd be great. His fiance is great.
I wish I could have seen your fiance. It's too bad I looked down at my notes about the
missed her
terrifying
forever.
dinosaur. That was so. Also, can I say something about the show? Everyone's way too horny. This is a pervy, horny show. I don't
And
like
they
the
are
horny
dinosaurs.
energy. I don't need dinosaurs to be horny. I don't know how other people need their dinosaurs.
Well, you know, as we established in another episode, Earl's a horn chaser. Is that what Roy said in that episode?
Yeah, that's the one we watched. Is that the one with Adel? Yeah, there was really like gross scene where Earl's coworkers asked him, like, he's like, some guys are into legs, I'm more of a neck guy, which I never say. Like, that's the worst thing I've ever heard from anyone.
He likes dinosaurs with long necks.
I was just like, Littlefoot. Like, I was so worried.
I wish I had a throw-up bucket with me. Just for
Yeah, I
moments
think-
like this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Adel like response was something about like John Wayne Gacy or something would say that. Like, it's not an okay thing to ever say to anyone or to have even for yourself. If you have that thought for yourself, you should be done.
Yeah, but
yeah, it can be
so-
uncomfortable for sure.
so yeah, so Robbie,
So Spike's picking up some chicks.
Spike is
apparently.
sitting on girls, and Robbie is just like, how does he do it? You know, he's not attractive. He's like, and then of course his reflection agrees with him. And
Yeah,
laughs.
it's like that he's way more attractive than him. That was cute. Like, I enjoy his reflection hyping him up.
And I love it when he just like he closes the locker, and he's just like, it's like, oh, come on, man, just forget about girls. Who needs them?
I can be doing homework. You can't do homework if you know girls. That's I've read that somewhere.
Also,
I didn't do homework, and most of my friends were girls, so this all adds up.
Also, I was gonna say that, so this won't really make sense to Erin all that much, but this is the first episode.
I thought Tim was gonna get real sexist. all
No,
of a
no,
sudden.
no.
He just is like mathematics.
No,
Yeah.
I was gonna
Math.
say. So this is the first like episode where they started referring to girls as like girls instead of just calling them females, because in all the other episodes, like women dinosaurs, they just call them females, and then they call the males
And men are males
because they're not people.
because they're not humans. But also, all these characters in the show are definitely guys where I'm like, of course he calls them females. Like, this is just they're all like incel dinosaurs. It's all these dinosaurs would post on Reddit from what I've gathered. That's all I know.
Yeah. But I just wanted to point that out for the show Bible, because we're working on our show Bible right now.
Yeah, I also wrote in my notes that they actually said girls in this episode, which is new.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't wait for like the coffee table book you release on the ins and outs of this show.
It will either be the coffee table, or we're just gonna write the reboot for this show.
We're gonna do the reboot.
I think you should do a reboot of it, but don't invest in any of the costumes or puppets. Just have people do it. And just be like,
expensive.
I'm a dinosaur. Just relax. Everyone just pretend I'm a dinosaur.
Yeah.
It's like low budget high school plays where they just wear white t-shirts with the characters' names on them.
Oh my God. My dream. That's the best.
Yeah.
So after Robbie considers talking to Spike, we cut to the house. We go to the house, but there's a cool moment here. I don't know if you noticed it, Ben. They kind of changed the like in between music, and it's kind of like this funky like groove to it. Like, did you notice that?
Yeah.
It's got like this weird like funky music to it. I don't know if it was supposed to be because it's like, ooh, love, you know, like.
Ooh, love.
Like, I don't know,
Auga?
like Waka Waka.
Is it Auga music?
Or something.
Waka Waka? It's Waka Flocka, and he's a rapper.
But yeah. So
The most Fozzie Bear rapper to exist.
we come to the house and we see Baby and Earl are watching TV, and Baby's immediately just like, puppets! And he is so happy, and you see the show. Ooh, excuse me.
This is
with sock puppets. And this is where the meta comedy comes in, and I love it. Ben hates it. I love this scene. I thought it was hilarious.
It's the worst fourth wall breaking when anyone looks at a camera and raises their eyebrows. Like, it's just, I don't know. Other than Bugs Bunny, I guess, but that's like a million years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
that was at the same time that actual dinosaurs
I
were
said
out.
boo out loud. I went, boo.
I groaned, and I wrote in my notes that I groaned.
But Ben, they stole one of your jokes. Where it's just like, that's not my wife, that's the Archbishop.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's, of course, my joke. I wrote that line.
Yeah, that's your joke. That's
Yeah,
not my
also-
Mine was about poutine.
They absolutely fucked up in a major way because all I wanted to do was watch that sock puppet show for the rest of the time.
It was
is
definitely better.
way more my speed. Can we do a
Yeah.
hard pivot and just turn the camera and I can watch this the rest of the time?
Erin was really invested in Mr. Argyle.
100%. That to me, I was like, this makes sense to me. I like this. This fancy British sock puppets. Let's go.
And did anybody else hear the song WAP in their head when they were like, get these hoes out of the house?
Yeah.
Immediately in my head was, there's some hoes in this house. I got so excited.
It was so good.
It was not.
Look who I brought to dinner.
I was just like, for one, what, like, if you brought anyone to dinner and your mom shouted to get these hoes out of the house, that's so messed up. Like, what the fuck? My mom has, like, I feel like my mom has low-key done that to me in a way where she'll, like, comment on that, like, the bathing suit somebody's wearing at her house that I brought, like, because, like, she'll say it to me, like, doesn't she know you have a girlfriend? I was like, for one, like, I don't now, but I've always been in, like, polyamorous relationships anyway. But I was like, I can't explain it to my mom. It doesn't make sense to her at all.
That's crazy.
But
that's wild.
Yeah, it's super weird. She was like, she can't, like, you like have a girlfriend and like her whole butt's out. I was like, I thought we were all happy about this situation. I don't know what the issue is.
I'd be like, Mom,
Like-
why are you so distracted and horny from my friend's bathing suits? Is what I'd
Yeah,
say.
for sure. And why
Stop
isn't
being
my
weird,
mom's butt
Mom.
out? Like, it's just weird. She clearly was envying the bathing suit is the issue.
Yeah. So it goes through the whole skit, and Earl makes the comment to the camera. Everyone groans except for me. And,
This show works on 2 levels.
Yeah.
It works on 1 level.
And I like it because Fran is you guys. She's the voice of reason. She's like, well, I don't like it because they're puppet.
Okay, things being puppets are fine. This is another thing we brought up in another episode about the fourth wall being broken in shows. Is like, to me, it's always, because we did an episode about our Halloween one. We just did like Treehouse of Horror. We talked about our favorite Treehouse of Horror segments instead of dinosaurs, which was a lot of fun. And I just like brought up like there's a scene where like they like groundkeeper Willie mentions it being the Shining or the Shinning or whatever, and says like, don't say the Shining boy will get sued. Is like my first fourth wall memory I have of something I saw with that. And it's just, I remember being a kid and thinking like, oh my god, I'm real, I exist. That's what I get when a fourth wall, like, I don't think, oh, they're real, I think I'm real when I see a fourth wall being broken. Like, it's almost like I exist to the show.
Yeah, it sort of sends you in like an existential crisis of like, am I in the show? What even is a show? Holy shit.
Well, this isn't gonna answer it. Dinosaurs will not answer what a show is.
So yeah. So all of that's broken up when Robbie and Charlene come home, and Robbie is really upset because he's been embarrassed.
I think he beats his sister up before they enter the house. I'm pretty sure he like throws her.
Did he?
Which is out of canon because she always beats him up like every time they fight.
Yeah.
And she's always like trying to eat his neck. She's a neck girl.
Ew.
So Robbie is just like, don't ask me about my day. I'm so embarrassed. And Charlene comes in, and I love this because Charlene reaches in the fridge, and she just pulls out a drink that automatically has a straw in it, and then Fran takes whatever she's holding and just kind of drops it in, and then they close the refrigerator.
I did not notice that.
No, it's just like when that one episode where Robbie just threw his bag and it just like flew on top of the refrigerator.
Yeah. This is where you put your bag when you get home, just on the fridge.
That I like.
Mm-hmm.
So she explains it to him, and Fran is just like, Earl, I think you need to have a father-son talk with Robbie. And Earl's just like, wait, why do I always have to do those?
Here's what's interesting. Any like sitcom like this from most of our lives make marriage seem horrible.
Yes.
Everyone's a shitty husband. All the wives are like nagging and only care about curtains. And I was like, God, why is anyone happy? Fucking what is happening?
Just get divorced.
Get a divorce.
Makes no sense.
You're both miserable. And also, this woman deserves to not be doing all of this labor. He should know to go do that talk. My God, she needs to. What's the saying? Mm-hmm. Marriage is for men, divorce is for women. This show has proved that to me.
She needs to dump him for sure.
I think we say that in every episode that Earl doesn't deserve Fran at all. Like,
or anyone.
No, he's horrible.
He doesn't deserve to be talked to.
He's very awful, and we learned that in this scene when he's talking to Robbie.
Oh yeah, well he says we're just gonna both pretend to talk and then like we get out of it or whatever.
So he turns on the TV, and we turn on Love Confessions.
Oh yeah, I should have probably done. I'm gonna put like a trigger warning on this episode. I should have said something, Erin, because this Love Confession show, it's about them going on a terrible date, and while she's describing how he's a bad kisser, they turn the camera to him and he's hung himself. Like what the fuck?
Super dark.
Yeah, for sure. Like. At least maybe they put the scene where they explain that it's not a kid's show right before that scene on purpose.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty fucked.
Yeah. So yeah, she's.
Oh, Tim, you're back.
Yeah, sorry, I had to let the cat out.
Oh, what's the secret?
It's George.
Oh,
It's just George.
Okay.
I get it.
So thanks.
So yeah. Yeah, it's pretty dark. So like. We'll probably put some kind of warning on this episode just because
for sure
it's kind of fucked up. I know it's run for
we're
gags.
gonna put that the trigger warning is gonna say that we talk about the show Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So if you have any fears at all, any phobias, do not watch it.
Yeah. So they turned the TV off because it was just too dark, obviously. And it forces Earl to talk to his son. And he talks about curtains, like Erin has been alluding to.
Women be curtains. And I don't get it. And women want curtains in every room of their house.
Every single room.
God forbid someone makes a room nice. It makes a home feel like a home. Fuck women.
And, like, discourages voyeurism to some extent. Women be curtains is any relation to Susan B. Anthony?
100%. I'm sure.
Okay, cool.
Which is funny because Earl kind of like talks about being like a seamstress. Like he's just like, and then.
Okay, I did like this part because I like play on words where they fall apart intentionally because he says something about sewing his wild oats, which is gross. And then he calls himself a seamstress. I know, he says it all the time. Gross. The seamstress thing is funny to me because that's not the type of sewing that is sewing wild oats. It's a different sewing. So I thought that was very good.
Yeah,
good
and then
play.
or the writers were actually just dumb. I don't know. It's one or the other.
But and then it comes to another part that I think is Ben's favorite part. So I'll let Ben talk about it. Is when Earl starts talking about Roy and how much he loves Roy.
Tim says this because so he starts talking about when he's hanging out with Roy, because he thinks that men should just hang out with men, and like he's slowly approaching his point. I think Earl has some stuff he needs to address in a very good way. And as a non-binary queer person, I can speak on behalf of Earl's secret desires about Roy. But I think that he says he's my best friend. We have a lot in common, but whenever I see him at night, when the moonlight bathes his face in a soft romantic glow, and then he no homos it. He says it always sends me running back to Fran. And like the reason, okay, so I almost wore the t-shirt to this recording. I made a t-shirt of a drawing I did of Roy and Earl making out, and it says honey, I'm homo. And it's because I wrote a fanfic about Earl and Roy. Yeah, of course. I only made one in my room using a printer, but and an iron. But yeah, so I made a Tumblr where I started writing a fanfic about Earl and Roy, where I just am writing it as if it's a very serious love novel, and that's my intentions with it.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't get to see Roy in this episode, so.
No, we just hear about how much Earl loves him.
Yeah, but it all comes around to Fran coming in, and she says she loves Earl because he's sensitive, which that's a lie.
The bar.
That's a lie.
The bar is
I was
on,
like, are we
the bar
talking
is on
about the
floor.
same guy?
Yeah. So
This
Robbie's...
dude wanted to fake talk to his son instead of taking the time to really talk to his son. This guy's not sensitive.
He'll do anything
taking
to
back
get out of
sensitive.
it. He'll do anything to get out of it. Watching his kids is something that he should probably do because it's in his best interest.
Well, yeah, there was one episode where he's trying to like do something nice for Fran, so he's like, maybe she should go away for a weekend and like go on a vacation, and then he's like, but who will watch the kids? Like, he can't figure that one out. He also refers to like not raising them but watching with interest, and then it's literally the worst.
Yeah.
Like, I can't show this to my ex who I'm babysitting for right now, because like she has 2 kids that don't have a dad, and like, so her watching the episodes at all, it's just like, this is men and it's the worst.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Unbelievable.
So yeah.
By the way, the 9-year-old yesterday said to me, because I brought up Donald Trump's name as a joke when she was trying to remember something, I was like, President Donald Trump. She's like, no, he's fucking stupid. I said, what did you say? And then she repeated it to me. I was like, you're not allowed to cuss. She's like, oh yeah.
Is this the 9-year-old that you're letting listen to Hey Riddle Riddle?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, I mean, like, she understands most of the time she's not supposed to cuss, and that's the idea. We teach her about, like, the actual, like, not to say things like stupid or idiot or anything hurtful, but that's way more important than the way we were taught as kids, where it's just all bad words are the same, and, like, you just can't say them, and they mean, like...
That's smart to show the difference. Also,
yeah,
a little kid saying the F word is always fun and always funny.
It is, and I have to try not to laugh, but it's impossible. Like it's one of those things that people would post in like a Facebook group called like that child didn't say that, but like that's because any one of those groups has never met children, because they do just like say everything. I've seen Whose Line Is Not Whose Line Is It Anyway. What's the other show? I meant to say kids say the darndest thing.
Yeah.
Truly, same part of my brain.
So
Colin Mockery says the darndest thing.
yeah. So we go back to school, and Robbie is walking to his locker, and he's pretending to cry to be sensitive, and he's
I feel bad for him. I can just make myself cry whenever I need to. He's bad at it.
he's just like, I don't know, it's just the continents, they're drifting apart, which I thought was funny. And
And somehow it's my fault.
yeah. So,
Wait, does he say fault?
oh, I don't know.
Yes, he does say fault. He does say fault. That is a good pun. Never
I didn't
mind.
even catch that.
I didn't either until I said it out loud. I was like, great.
That is a good pun. Never mind.
I was hoping I wrote it, and I realized it's in the script.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So he's faking to be sensitive, and Caroline just
And the girl.
she sees right through it. Yeah, she's just like, you're
Yeah.
pathetic, like, and he just doesn't he doesn't get it. So
She should bring up to him the fact that she looks like his sister,
God.
because he should have really addressed that. Yeah, so Spike comes up with his weird, like, nice technique. You learned that from your mommy. I really can't. His voice is really.
in his
Honestly,
for some
you're
reason,
kind of nailing it. You definitely landed on the essence of it.
he's like an Andrew Dice Clay, but like talking slower. It's the worst.
yeah. But I like
Hickory
how
dickory dock.
he's got his little tie-dye crop top on with his army camo jacket and
Jesus.
boots. It's great.
He's a good dinosaur outfit design. He does not look like. Is this supposed to be Spike from Land Before Time grown up?
I mean,
I'm gonna make that
no,
canon.
but yes. So
It's Spike.
so
from
basically,
That's true now. It's just true now.
yeah,
Degrassi. It's true. It happens in the
it'll
podcast.
be
It
in
happens in real life.
it'll be in our show Bible.
Yeah.
So
Show Quran.
Spike is basically like Robbie's pickup artist. Like he's like Robbie's like paying him to give him advice on girls, basically. And
Scam. It's a scam.
yeah. So he gives him $10, and Spike and me, he's just like, well, like, who does she hang out with, you know, like, who does she talk to? And he's like, well, she was talking to this teacher, and like Spike's just immediately just like, kill him.
It's just I don't want to laugh at that to some extent because of the implications of what men actually do and act like, but that is pretty great that he's just like, kill the teacher, because she has to talk to him in class, like.
Yeah. And then he's like,
but that's the first time they named that teacher's name, because we've met that teacher before without the name. So.
Oh, you think he's the science teacher?
Yeah,
I think he'll be playing a bigger role later. He's
been in an episode where they were dissecting humans, which is good.
So yeah,
and Robbie's like, why are we killing these poor defenseless dumb animals?
Excellent. I hate the show. Carry on. Keep going.
And so Robbie is trying to think of things to do that he thinks girls like get them an ID bracelet and
buy her curtains.
Curtains. And
why didn't he just buy her curtains?
And Spike is like, well, no, you're going all about it wrong. Like, she's an animal. She's like, you know, give her a good sniff or whatever the fuck he says. Oh my God.
I hate it so much.
Yeah.
And he says, what am I supposed to just grunt at her? He's like, you're getting the idea.
Yeah. So he does, and he gets hit in the face with the tail.
Yeah, she kicks his ass. But of course, Spike is gross and's like, hey buddy, you just got some tail. Like, what the like, this is the worst.
Yeah.
I italicized and in bold I wrote boo after that line with like a million O's.
Yeah. So go ahead. Who's
No, nothing. I was not gonna say anything. Just fine.
okay. Okay. So
no, but I was gonna bring up, like, imagine a multi-level marketing scheme like this, people that pop up in your Facebook messages that you never seen in 10 years, but it's like somebody like, I'll teach you how to pick up chicks for $10. That'd be the worst. I'm like, just at least make me sell energy drinks. Don't do this.
Anything but this.
Yeah. So we cut to the nighttime, and Robbie and Spike are outside of her house, and
let's quick pause. How do you think I felt about this part? What happens after this? Do you think I loved it, or do you think I absolutely loved it?
I have in the notes here that Erin's favorite scene is next.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I loved it, and there's no problem with it, and it wasn't the weirdest thing I've ever seen a TV show do.
Yeah, where he goes to pee in her yard is so.
Yeah.
Like, the essence of what happens is so bonkers. I can't even, like. He says you got to mark her territory.
Yeah, and like even Robbie questions it. He's just like. He's like,
well, he thought it was gonna be like a Cyrano thing, like the whispering like poems from the bushes,
yeah,
like, or at least a John Cusack thing, like, was it Lou Dobler or whatever? I thought at least holding a radio above his head. I don't know. Did I get it wrong? Lloyd, Lou Dobler. I hardly know her, but so I would not pee in her yard.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
So yeah. So Robbie, even Robbie's just like,
he had him drink 6 cups of water before they went there too.
He's like, I drank 8 cups of water, and then so he goes around the back, and then immediately the cops show up for whatever reason, and they stop.
ACAB.
Yeah, ACAB, and they show up, and the officer whose name is George, right? Is it George?
Yeah, these cops are terrible, and they're just both terrible. Why would I remember their name?
That's your cat's name, Tim.
Yeah, that's my cat. And
yeah,
and
these are some real. They really do have like real cop vibes in this episode. Like they get paid off by Earl at the end.
I know.
Really cool. And then Earl calls them crooks. And I'm like, fuck yeah, comrade, comrade Earl.
Yeah. And like so they
Earl's the guy who joins the socialist group to pick up women though. Don't trust him. Which is every guy in a socialist group.
So they arrest Robbie and Spike and bring them home, and the cops come in, and yeah, like Ben was saying, the cops are just like, well, well, not the cops, sorry. Earl brings the cops aside and is just like, look, my wife doesn't understand the intricate, like, the justice system. So, like,
The
how much...
intricacies of the criminal justice system.
Yeah, she's like, so how much do I have
But
to pay
Spike
you?
does. Spike does. He's in Law and Order SVU. Should have get involved.
This is
No, but
definitely an
this is like the
SVU
episode.
crime.
This is like the episode where she's trying to tell him to make a suggestion at work, and he's like, "Oh, you delicate butterfly or cupcake or whatever." It's like, oh, I just want to kill Earl. I want a Dixie Chicks Earl.
Yep.
So Earl pays off the cops, and the cops give him tickets to a charity event that never happened.
Jesus. So business as usual.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like Spike, this is when Spike gets even more cringy and does the whole thing, like, because they're being like told off by the parents, and Spike's just like, I'm loving this whole mommy daddy ritual reading the Riot Act. It's charming. And like, where does this kid live?
Yeah,
Like, what is his situation?
Yeah, and then he's just like, oh, don't be mad at Robbie. Like, he's just a victim of peer pressure. And then he's like,
From him.
and then he's like, Mr. Sinclair, can I get you a brewski? So
Of course he says brewski.
yeah, and like,
But this kid, it's just weird. Like, I think he's like trying to red pill Robbie the whole episode. He really is like a pickup artist. Like the whole episode, he's just like, we should go back to what it used to be like. This civilization's got you all whacked out, buddy. It's oh god.
yeah, so
This is when the movie becomes Fight Club.
when Spike, yeah, and then Spike basically like convinces. So Spike holds like a men's rights activist meeting in the kitchen and convinces Earl that he needs to stand up for himself.
Perfect.
He's like the
He's the
like
victim
Chris,
here.
Yeah,
He's like Chris Gethard in that Parks and Rec season where Chris Gethard's like an MRA.
yeah. He's like, and who gets? It's the women who do it, and who gets called? The cops called
Oh,
on
God.
him. We do.
Jesus.
And he calls Fran a foul temptress, and just like every
This is,
episode, she just puts him in his place.
So she's a foul temptress is what I refer to a bucket of chicken from KFC as, by the way. But go on. Yeah. So Earl gets caught by Fran having just let the Cyrano or whatever his name is, Spike, leave. And he like tries to do his whole MRA thing at her and shouts that he's the mighty Megalosaurus, and she just like I guess she does the actual, she's like the only adult in the household is what it is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for her.
Yeah.
But he's like telling her like, Fran, I don't know if you noticed this, but it's embarrassing when you undercut my authority like that.
It's the only way anything gets done in this house.
Yeah. I want her to leave him so bad. He
Yeah.
knew I would get so emotionally invested in a
Don't
dinosaur
worry,
couple getting a divorce.
That's
We're
why
calling our our Patreon is going to be called Only Frans.
only friends.
That's funny.
So
You got a good pun brain.
Thanks.
You have a good
Thanks.
ear
It's-
for
it's-
it, and you got a good brain for it.
It's the worst. It's definitely a curse where I just have to say it all the time.
So we cut to the next morning, and Robbie's grounded, and he's hanging out with Baby. I actually like this interaction where he's just like,
You do?
I don't know.
Where he's teaching his baby brother about a girl being hot that you want to touch.
Yeah, he's like, oh, hot, don't touch.
The baby is constantly switching whether it's intelligent or not. It's very confusing to watch.
Yeah.
But
I just like
sometimes it speaks in like 2 words at a time. Sometimes it understands bigger concepts.
I just like it when he's just like when Robbie's talking about how he's being punished, and Baby's like, am I your punishment? He's like, yeah. He's like, I like that.
He likes that. The baby is a glutton for pain and punishment.
Yeah, it's very weird.
It's a very interesting character. It's other than Earl, it's my least favorite character. But Charlene comes in, and like the baby outs Robbie's sentence to Charlene like immediately about thinking Caroline is hot, and Charlene's like, oh, I just saw her at the mall with Spike. But Robbie's grounded, so he can't go do nothing about it all night.
He can't do nothing about it, but he's just stewing in his anger and is able to bring that anger to school to really kick his ass.
Yeah, he's gonna beat the shit out of Spike now. And this is where we learned that Spike got expelled for eating his principal.
Yeah.
Because he has a little problem with authority.
Yeah.
It's great because like Robbie confronts him for moving in on his chick or whatever. And this is like, by the way, if you notice, like he calls Robbie like 80 different nicknames throughout this episode, but he ends up landing on Scooter for the rest of it.
Yeah.
Don't you
Yeah, he calls
gotta
him
turn the wheels on
Sparky.
your scooter, something like that? What was it?
Yeah, that's it.
That's
I was
exactly
like,
what he
okay.
said, yeah. And I like, yeah, and so Robbie fights him because, you know, he's obviously dating Caroline even though he can barely talk to her, but that's his girl. So
Jesus.
he fights
He's
him.
entitled to her love. You don't understand.
He marked
Let me explain something
her
about women.
territory.
All you
Women
gotta
need
do
curtains.
is buy them curtains, pee in their yard, and demand that they love you, and they'll love it. They'll be
That's
like,
I have
exactly
that
what
"Honey,
Earl
your
did.
hand."
Can we put that on a t-shirt?
Oh, it's horrible.
It should be curtains. It should be like curtains.
What, like
pee.
curtains and pee in yard and
Yeah,
like that
yeah,
kind of shirt? No. It's the curtains for me.
So yeah. So Robbie fights Spike. He gets super strong for whatever reason, throws him into glass, and then Spike's plan takes fold, and he's just like, "All right, great. Now throw me down and kick me in the ribs."
I just think like Spike is just into it. Like that's definitely what's happening. I think that they should date.
Perfect.
I say that about every same gender character throughout the show. I'm just like, they should date instead. They
It
should just
sort of
date.
feels like he was intentionally sabotaging him and giving him bad advice, hoping that he
Yeah.
would fall in love with him instead.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly. That's his whole thing. Also, I want to say for the record, I'm gonna start calling them Hurtons instead of curtains because her story, like we gotta really solidify that.
Naturally.
Nevertheless, her assisted. You know, I just gotta make sure.
Wow, that one, I liked that one because it was really graceful and elegant and wasn't,
Yeah.
didn't feel like you were forcing something.
So Scooter and what's his name, Spike,
Scooter and
decide
Spike.
they're gonna be friends. They're gonna have a spin-off series, and because Robbie wants more information, he wants more red pills, and Spike wants more money.
well, he wants food. He's gonna eat all the food.
Oh yeah, he's
their
like, you got
house.
any food at your house? Yeah, so
He's like, yeah, we got kinds of food. He's like, you got any chicks? He's like, well, no, that's what you're supposed to help me with.
which is he's lying though. His sister is at his house. Like,
Yeah, but she's a little too young for him.
I hope so. I hope I don't think that Spike seems like somebody who does the math,
Yeah, no, you're right. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
but I think their ages at this point are supposed to be like 15 and 13, and they end up 16 and 14 by the end of the series, I believe.
And we all know what the end of the series is, right?
Do they all die?
Flint's
Oh,
they do all die. I know this because it's like a thing that people talk about, but the last episode is them all freezing to death.
Yeah.
Which like what the fuck? I'm gonna edit that out of the podcast.
that I can get behind.
No spoilers here. So yeah, that's the episode, basically.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
So 10 out of 10, obviously.
Yeah, obviously loved it. Can't wait to rewatch it. Gonna restart it the second we're done recording. Obviously.
So yeah, any final thoughts on this episode?
How does this compare and rank to other ones? Like, are you guys doing a rating after each one out of 10?
We will talk about ones that are specifically better than like other
Yeah.
shit.
We don't have a rating
'Cause they're-
system, but that could be
Yeah.
a good idea. But because you could definitely compare it to like other episodes, like Family Challenge or like the good ones that we've watched.
I off the top of my head, I can't think of any good puns for a rating system, so I can't go with one.
It's okay.
Yeah, I get it.
I was like, in my head, I was like saying it. I was like, all right, Pitchfork music, can't think of anything. Rotten Tomatoes, can't think of anything.
You can go down the line.
It could be I Am Dinosaur Bones for IMDb. That's the best I can do.
Take a break. Take a rest. Drink some water. You've done good work
Drinking-
today, okay?
Drink another 10-hour energy.
Uh,
I just
yeah.
I just hope that does work for 10 hours. I don't believe it though. I imagine in about an hour I'm gonna crash hard.
How many more episodes do you have left?
Why do you want to come back?
No. You guys are wonderful, and if you start another podcast, I'm there. But I cannot watch another one of these.
We do plan to do like some Muppet stuff in the future, like reviewing Muppets episodes of movies. So maybe we can do a special where we do like your favorite is the Muppet Caper, right?
Yeah, good memory.
Yeah. Oh, I remember that. Also, I have a cup from that like movie that has the Great Muppet Caper on it. So I thought about that. So yeah, if you want to come back and do that, that'd be great. But 100%. I think we have like 2 more seasons, and this is like halfway through this season 2.
Yeah.
Good luck and Godspeed.
I've watched the series twice all the way through.
Yeah. At the end of it, this time you're gonna freeze to death when you watch the last episode.
See, I got the tattoo already, mainly because I was living with a tattoo artist, so I could just get a tattoo whenever I decided I wanted one. And so I ended up during quarantine, I got like that tattoo, and I got a old Nokia cell phone tattooed on me that says IDK my BFF Jill on the screen.
Nice. That's good.
I got the little, remember the anti-weed commercials where the dog's telling the owner he's disappointed in him? I got that cartoon tattooed on me.
Okay, well, perfect.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else embarrassing that I did tattoo-wise. I have the word emo tattooed on me.
Wow. That's good.
But it's just our editor's son's name.
Oh yeah, if I look in the mirror, it says OMG, and that's the initials to our editor's oldest child.
Whoa. That was on purpose, I'm sure.
It was, for sure.
Yeah.
It's funny as me and our editor, Zach, have the same idea. We had the same idea separately and didn't know that we wanted to get the home row keys from the keyboard tattooed on our knuckles.
Oh, that's so funny.
But we decided we have to get jobs in writing before we can actually solidify that.
Yeah.
But because he works at he works at Home Depot. I guess he can get those on his knuckles, but still.
Home Depot, yeah. So
you have to put 2 letters on one, but still.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was the show.
Yeah, I wish there were other episodes I wish would have lined up better.
This is
for sure.
It was so funny because as we were talking about it, I was trying to like fast forward and then like mute play where we were at on my phone, just because I was like, okay. I wanted to be along with it. And as I was watching it, I was like, these visuals are terrifying. They really are. Yeah. It's scary.
Imagine spending years making a puppet for it to end up in a nightmare. Like, that's the thing to me is like, it's so much work to make the show and it's so scary looking.
The craftsmanship is pretty incredible. Like I can get behind how amazing like and talented the people who make these puppets are, but I'm really scared of them. And even just the colors on the color palette, I can't get past the earrings. How are they hanging? Why are they so heavy? Why? I don't like dinosaurs wearing earrings. It's scary.
I like
Robbie's the only one who wears shoes in the whole series, which is interesting.
And Spike wears boots.
Oh yeah, well he's a punk rocker, so he had to.
And so when I was watching it today to watch it again, I was trying to figure out how they did that puppet, and I assume it's just someone standing up straight, and then they have their hand out for his mouth. I think that's how that worked.
I thought it was 3 dogs in a trench coat, honestly.
It's probably raccoons, honestly.
There's people in these costumes?
Well, yeah, Ben, remember...
You think dogs would do that? Those are raccoons.
Yeah.
We established that you are in the baby suit. That's you. Your baby Sinclair.
Timeline-wise, it does add up. I was born in 1990, so, like...
Yeah, you're in there.
Yeah, just like the perfect age. That's me in that baby costume.
Yeah.
It sucked.
There's some cool episodes where they do, like, a lot of really neat things with... Grandma Ethel is a cool one because it's like a puppet, but it's on like a motorized like wheelchair, and so it's like this big puppet and it's moving around and they're doing like moving her mouth and stuff like that, and then like
whoa, scary.
And then
yeah. She was originally going to be a pterodactyl that hung upside down in their closet with jewelry dangling, and Adel said that they were cowards for not going with it.
No, I think they did the right thing.
Also, Adel said there should be Amber Alert jokes in every episode of just dinosaurs eating kids. And I was like, yeah, Amber Alert jokes are the best jokes.
And there's also other ones with Baby where he's just kind of like all over the place. Like, I don't really know how they do it.
Yeah.
But his puppet
wires,
is just, like,
I'm sure.
Flying all over the place.
Cords. I sound like an asshole at a magic show. It's wires and magnets. I don't know how, but I know it's involved.
You're ruining the magic.
They're all real. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I hope not. Then they're gonna come and kill me probably.
They'll hear you talking shit. And then... I always worry because we mostly have like musicians and comedians come on the podcast so far, just people that we think are funny or people we know. And then I've like sent email. It's very hard to get a hold of anybody that worked on this show, but I found a couple of them on Twitter. They're all old or dead, and every time I say that, I'm like, they're gonna listen to this and be very offended and never come on the show. But I do really want to get the guy who's like Inside Earl has a podcast, his puppet guy, not his proctologist, as our producer responded when I said the guy who works inside Earl. But I really want to get him on the show because I got to ask how he did it. Like it looks like he dances in a lot of episodes, falls down and stuff.
He falls down in this
hear
episode.
the logistics.
Yeah, it seems ridiculous.
Well, I hope that you can get some answers.
I know. I also heard that they like to do like a big wrestling pile during episodes when they got bored on set. Like they just like tackle each other in the costumes.
Oh,
And that's great. And they were just not able to get up afterwards. They were all stuck in a pile on the floor.
That's why it cost millions of dollars to make one episode.
It was all their chiropractors being paid.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was.
But
yeah, thank you for joining us for this like very special episode of this sitcom.
Thank you so much for having me. I laughed really hard, and yeah, this is now I've watched it, and now I have this, and it's part of who I am now.
yeah.
It's
Now you'll have a new
nightmare.
Now you have a new nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah, next 18 years of my life. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
It'll just be Spike. Just his head.
Oh, horrible.
So, other than your podcast, Hey Riddle Riddle, do you have anything to plug before we start thanking people?
No, I'm trying to think. I went on John Mackey's Twitch podcast stream, How You Been, recently, and
cool.
It was really, really fun. And if you are a fan of Teachers Lounge at all, or John Mackey, you should check out that show. I had a blast on it, and I think you can find it on, if you Google John Mackey Twitch, you'll be able to find my episode.
Okay, awesome. I still haven't listened to Teachers Lounge, and I've been told to a bunch of times by a bunch of people.
It's for sure my favorite comedy podcast by a long shot.
Okay, I'll check it out.
It's perfect. It's the only one that I feel like is the most sustainable comedy podcast. Like you can listen to it for a million hours and never get tired of it.
Wow. Yeah, the reason other than my friend telling me to listen to Hey Riddle Riddle, the reason I ended up doing it is because the McElroys brought it up in an episode of Mabim Bam, and that was that's the first podcast I listened to, which I just got into last year, and then listened to the entire 10 years of it in a several month period while I was
yeah, you can go through 100 of those in a day and be like, what happened?
Yeah. So I've heard from them as well. They've talked about Teachers Lounge, and you guys have talked about it on Hey Riddle Riddle, so I do want to listen to that. So I'll check out that John Mackey stream.
I love that I plugged another person's podcast that isn't mine.
Yeah.
Also, Hey Riddle Riddle, if you are interested in people who hate riddles.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely check out Hey Riddle Riddle. It's not about riddles as much as you might be worried.
Yeah, it's not. We promise.
I guess I do kind of like that part in a way because that's how my brain works. I get all the riddles pretty quick, but then I'm I don't that's nothing I ever want to brag about, so it doesn't work for me.
Yeah, it doesn't. No one really people get mad that we don't say them right away, but we're like, what are we all doing here? We don't need any
such
of
a
it.
weird thing to. I think it's so funny that people write in trying to get you to do more in an episode or whatever. I'm just like, is that really why they're listening? Is just straight just Google it. Go to riddles.com. I made an account on riddles.com. I post fake riddles that have fake answers all the time.
What are you doing? You have so much time to troll. What are we doing?
I think we should have
my
an
gosh.
intervention.
I think you could have written
Intervention.
100 books at the time that you have been trying to destroy people online.
Fanfics. This is the thing. So I got messaged by a guy asking me to join the Illuminati last week, and whenever I get messaged by a scam artist,
yes?
it's a gift. Well, I said I was already in 2, and I don't know if I could fit it in. And then I asked him. I said, "Can you babysit my son? He's 26 and addicted to karate." And then I sent him a picture of a horse and a human's faces swapped, and they were sharing a carrot together. And he said, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then blocked me. And I was like, "This is a
Wow,
gift."
that must have felt good.
Yeah, it was great. Sometimes they don't block you, and that's the worst situation, though, when you still have this person you have to mess with for like a year.
Oh my god.
And then you get married, and
Yep. It's a whole mess.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, thanks. I don't think what's funny is like I keep like almost plugging things that already our recording process we're like releasing in January. Like I was gonna plug like I played like a live set for this Discord chat yesterday. That was like a Southern queer like artists thing. And that was a lot of fun. And what's funny about that is I came over to my friend's house to record this podcast today, and I accidentally brought my foot tambourine with me along with my microphone because I was still as if I forgot that I'm not preparing for a music thing. So I should have just wore that the whole time, though.
but you can't plug that show because it already happened.
Yeah, it already happened. You can watch it on my Facebook or something. But we want to say thanks to our Jeremy Hunter from Scotch Network for making our theme song. It is great. And thanks to Amy Shenanigans for drawing the beautiful portraits of me and Tim that I added horrifying sock puppets to for our logo.
Mr. Argyle.
And and thanks to Zach George for being the goodest of boys and editing and producing the podcast. And you can check out his band Waterson on Spotify and Bandcamp or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's terrible. And
No, it's not.
no, it's actually really it's really good. I would say it was good either way, so you can't trust me.
Yeah. And thanks to Erin for coming on and chatting
Truly
with
a
us.
pleasure. Thank you for being flexible with my schedule and so patient with me. I really, really, really appreciate it.
No,
Oh, it's okay. We were.
this is
very
very exciting for us. Yeah, we would have just sat here and had our dogs on the podcast.
We just
instead.
talked to each other for 45 minutes or whatever it was.
But so I guess everyone tune in next week for the episode season 2 episode 11 Switched at Birth, which is written by Tim Doyle and directed by Tom Tribovic, and our friend Mike Brody will be with us for that episode.
Oh, that's a weird one because we learn baby's origins. It's really weird.
Oh God! Thank God I'm not here. For that. Bye.
Oh, I'm sure. So enjoy the rest of your extinction, everybody.
Yep. Goodbye, everybody.